In this video, we will explore the Boardwalk Velocity menu options and learn how to update them. All Velocity worksheets are protected. This is essential for maintaining data integrity, security, and preventing unintended changes. It may also be needed to be compliant with organizational policies or regulatory requirements. For this purpose, some functionalities of worksheets are controlled, for example, adding and deleting rows and columns. Boardwalk Velocity adds its own menu options available under Boardwalk submenu. On the row menu, the Boardwalk submenu has a copy row below the current row option. Then there is a cell-level menu option, which has numerous options, some of which we have used before, like Submit, Refresh, and Download Worksheet. Delete Velocity Change Comments removes the comments resulting from refresh. Clear Auto Filter will remove all filter selections on columns. Toggle Filter turns filters off and on. List Error Check will run validation rules that may have been set up. Show Unsaved Changes lists any changes to the sheet that have not been submitted. Under the History submenu, we have options to generate the cell and ledger history. These menu options were automatically set up by Velocity during the onboarding process. We know that WeLink imported the drop-down list cuboid, and it does not have any Boardwalk menu options set up. So, let's create the default options for the sheet. First, click on the drop-down list sheet to activate it. Next, click on right-click menu option under the design framework of Boardwalk Velocity, followed by clicking Create Default. An informational window pops up, indicating the Boardwalk Velocity menus have been created. Click OK to continue. Now let's test these menu options. Right-click on the row for the menu options associated with the rows to be displayed and navigate to the Boardwalk menu. We see more options here than before. Similarly, click on a cell with the drop-down list cuboid, right-click, and navigate to the Boardwalk menu. We see that there are more options than before. Perhaps all menu items are not required, so we should be able to reconfigure these options. To do this, we will go to the right-click menu of the Boardwalk Velocity Design Framework and click on View/Edit Items. A window showing all the menu items shows up. You will notice all options have been selected by default, excepting the ones dealing with measure or skew format. We can deselect the items we don't want to be shown as options for the users. We start with deselecting Refresh Workbook, then deselecting Submit Workbook, followed by deselecting Velocity Process Flow. Moving down the list a little bit, we can deselect Download Workbook. For inserting rows, we only want users to insert rows at the bottom of the cuboid. For that, we will deselect all the Insert Row options, excepting the At Bottom option. Similarly, we will allow users to be able to insert multiple rows at the bottom. We definitely don't want users deleting rows, hence we will deselect all Delete options. As for the Copy Row options, we would allow the users to only copy a row and place it at the bottom. Hence, we deselect all options excepting the Copy Row at Bottom item. We will leave Not Activate any skew options. And we will keep the Row History option. Once we have completed the selection, click on Save and Close. Now that we've reconfigured our menu options, it's time to test them out. Simply right-click on a row and navigate down to the Boardwalk menu to view the options. Next, click on a cell, then right-click again and navigate to the Boardwalk menu to observe the options available there. If the options match our desired configuration, we're finished. Otherwise, we can return to editing the menu options and reconfiguring them as needed. In case one wants to remove the right-click Boardwalk menus, then we can do so by clicking of Delete all menu items from the right-click menu of the Boardwalk Velocity Design Framework. There is a configuration sheet associated with the Boardwalk Velocity menu options, called the mouse-click actions. We can navigate to this sheet from Range Settings of the Design Framework and then selecting Cuboid Pop-up Menu Settings. This takes us to the sheet where right-click menu options are listed for all the cuboids in the workbook. Scrolling, we can see them all here. The extreme right column indicates whether the menu item is active or not by entering a true or false against it, implying you can change the settings from this configuration sheet too. Now let's switch back to our drop-down list sheet. In the event there is a need to add custom menu items, we can do that too by clicking on Add Custom Items of the right-click menu of the design framework. A window pops up letting us know a right-click item has been added. Click OK to continue. We need to decide where this menu item will show, in the cell or row menu. Let's say it is the row menu, and let's say we want it to appear under the Boardwalk menu, and we'll display as Say Hello. In our example in cell AL329, enter Say Hello. This will appear as an item under the Boardwalk row menu. We also need to associate a VBA macro with it. Type the name of the macro Say Hello in the cell as shown. When the item is clicked from the Boardwalk menu, the VBA macro associated with this item will be executed. Since we do not have this macro, we will need to create it. To create the VBA macro, we need to go to the VBA editor. Click on Developer and select VBA Editor. On the left panel, look for the Acme Transactions, right-click on and add a module. Let's change the name of the module to Custom Module Transactions. It is good practice to name the module to correspond to the application and add all custom VBA macros to this module so that it is easy to find in the future. Now that we have our module created, let's code the macro that we want to link to the menu item. The macro will open a pop-up window that will display Hello World. The name we give the macro should be the same as the one that we put in the pop-up menu items. Once the macro has been created, it is always a good idea to test it. Macro is working. Click OK to close the pop-up. Close the VBA editor. Navigate to the drop-down menu list. Right-click on the row. Navigate to the Boardwalk menu and click on Say Hello. Our pop-up shows up. Click OK to close. We have now successfully added a custom menu item and attached a macro to it. In this video, we learned how to configure Boardwalk Velocity menus by creating a default menu, then editing, saving, and testing the menus. We can add user-specific custom menu items, and if required, remove all menu items too. Next, we will delve on configuration of insert or add row functionality.